Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becky Setra. I hope you're doing well. So as you know, I'm a nurse registered in the UK and I do give tips and advice to nurses from overseas or those working in the UK, especially on professional development. So today I have a guest on my channel. She's my friend. She's more or less like a family to me. I met her since 2003, 2004. She has 3 different NMC registrations. She's got adult general nurse qualification, which she did in the UK. She did midwifery, she did health visiting. So today she's going to share her knowledge to you about how to become a health visitor in the UK. So it's going to be 2-part video. You need to look for the other one, which would be about midwifery. So if this sounds interesting to you, why not watch the video to the end? Hi everyone, you're welcome back to my channel, and as I said, I have a guest on my channel. Her name is Victoria, and once again, she's a Wonder Woman. She's got 3 NMC registrations, nursing, midwifery, and health visiting. And today she's sharing her knowledge about how to become a health visitor and what health visitors do, and advice to those of you who would be wanting to do that. Now, to become a health visitor, you can't come straight from Ghana and apply for health visiting job. You should be working ideally in the UK and as a band 5 in different areas, which Victoria will talk about, before you can apply to become a health visitor. It's a form of professional development program you would be doing anyway. So I'll let Victoria introduce herself and then we go through the different questions. So Victoria, you're welcome to my channel. Thank you for your time, and if you can please introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Victoria, as Becky said. I am a health visitor at the moment, but I have 3 registrations. So I came from Ghana as a young girl and came straight to Leicester to train as a nurse. I came in '99 November, and then by January I was enrolled in the course. I did all my nursing training there, 3-year nursing training. That was a higher diploma. At the time, we didn't have a degree, and then I went on, worked for 3 years, and then went back to do my midwifery for a year and a half, a degree in a year and a half, with 3 children under the age of 3, a bit challenging. And then obviously I moved on. I went there for about 9 years, and because of time, I was constrained with family. I decided to make a move to health visiting, which was closer to midwifery really. And I went to train again for a year as a level 7, which is basically master's level, to do my health visiting with children, with 4 children
At that time. From 3 children?
Yes.
And then now 4
yes.
children.
And I've been working as a health visitor now since for about 7 years.
Okay, that's great. So, you know, it's raining again, but we don't really mind. We're going to carry on. So you hear a bit of the rainy sound, but it doesn't matter. So, how do you become a health visitor in the UK?
Right. A health visitor is, you get into health visiting being a nurse. You have to have some nursing or midwifery background. You should have worked as a nurse or a midwife before you can do it. It's a specialist public health nurse training called SCIFIN, base for short. And so it's because it's specialized, you need to have a sort of nursing or midwifery background before you can apply for it. So basically that is usually through the NHS jobs. And if you go into every area, city, NHS jobs, if they have the training, it will be there. I mean, we are in Leicester, so if you want it, if you come to Leicester, you have to go to the NHS jobs and say Leicestershire. Or you can just go to NHS jobs and say health visiting course training or something, and it will come. You are a qualified nurse, so you are going to be applying as a nurse, like applying for a job as a nurse, and you will go for an interview. And then you will be selected to do the training with a particular trust. Yes. with it's a primary, no, it's not primary care trust, like a PCT kind of thing, like a primary, yes, not PCT now.
There's a new name for
yes, it. Yes, okay. But it will be in the community, and you'll be enrolled with a trust. And then you get into the course, and the course is a year-long course. We have the level 6, we have the level 7. The level 6 is usually at the degree level, and the level 7 is usually at the master's level, postgraduate level. So if you've got a degree, it does not make sense to go in and really go for another degree, but that's entirely up to you. If you're prepared to learn at that level, then obviously you go for the level 7. But if you want to, if you feel it's too much for you, you can do the level 6, because there's less intensity with the level 6 than there is with the level 7. And at the end, you all qualify to be the same health visitors. But the difference is that you can end up doing a dissertation and get a master's on top of what you've got. Okay. That's the difference with it. So it's in training. It's usually more practical based, and you will do theory work as well, but you are always in a particular working area. So your first 9 months, you will be in a vicinity, either in the city or in the county. And in the city, it's more deprived, so the needs are totally different, and there is quite more social issues in the city, and so it's a very good experience to have. And then in the county, it's totally different. It's very affluent people and very sparsely populated as well, and you get people who are very educated. It's got its own challenges because they question everything you do, because they read a lot, so they do question a lot you do, unlike the city where and are happy to just appreciative of what you give to them. These ones can be quite questioning because they are all professionals in their own right. So you will do either 9 months in the county or 9 months in the city. The first is always 9 months, and then in the last 3 months you will have your own caseload. Health visitors have caseloads, and you will have your own caseload. It's usually up to 100, and you will be doing just the work of a health visitor, but obviously overseen by your practice teacher.
Okay. So how long does the course take?
The course is a year-long course. That's what it is at the moment. So you do 9 months, and then you do 3 months.
Okay.
Yes.
In total.
Yes,
so
in total.
Theoretical aspect, and
yes.
then you have your practical.
Well, both theoretical and practical. From day one you enter the course, you're going to be doing practical work, because it's such a short time. So you get on, you observe for a couple of months, and you're hands-on, and you're being supervised at the first 9 months. But at the last 3 months, they expect you to be independent, and you need to be standing on your own 2 feet and working as a health visitor. So with minimal supervision, it'll be looking at you from the side. You only tap on a health visitor if you need support, if you feel you're not. And because, don't forget, because you're a registered nurse, you are equally still responsible and accountable to the NMC. So if you don't know something, you ask, but they will not be watching you like you were first year, like you just enter the course. They want you to be practicing autonomously at that point. So that's the whole idea of it.
So as you said, people who want to have their masters can go. There are 2 options. Either you go as a degree level 6, or you can go as a postgraduate or master's level at level 7.
Yeah. Okay. And at the interview, they will ask you which one you would want, and you specify that.
So you went for the level 7?
I went for the level 7 because I had a degree in midwifery. So I went in for the level 7, and I've gone ahead and finished my master's degree as well.
Okay. Yes. Okay. That's fine. So what do health visitors do in the UK? If somebody, not a lot of people around there know what health visitors do. I know it's a lot, but if you can tell us, what does the job of a health visitor entail? Okay.
The job of the health visitor is very broad and very, you have a very high level of responsibility, and we look after children, their development from birth, 10 days of birth, all the way to 5 years. So basically we look at how the child is growing, whether they're feeding well, whether they're gaining weight, whether they're beginning to speak. They need to be doing certain things at a particular age, and we look out for that. And if they're not doing it, then we take course of action. We make a referral to either a pediatrician, a specialist, or someone. And the other things we look at when we go into the home is the needs of the whole family. And obviously, when you enter a home, we are looking at the mother's mental health as well. Whether the mother has got postnatal depression, it's a very common thing when women have babies. And some of us don't even know. I'm sure a lot of us in Ghana, we have it, but we don't even know we have it because we just keep going on. We've got quite good family network.
Yeah.
But it's a very common disease. 1 in 7 women will get postnatal depression. And so we look out for that, and we support the mothers with constant visits to listen in to them. And if we think it's too much, then we refer them for some medication treatment as well. And the other thing we look at is safeguarding, child protection issues. So if we enter a home, our eyes are going round. We don't just go home to see the child. There is more we look at in the family. We look at the family dynamic. We look at what is going on. Is there neglect? Are the children being looked after well? Are the mental health of the patients well? Is there good provision of food? All these things we look at. And if there's problems with employment, we refer them to the appropriate places. If there's problems with feeding the children, we refer to proper places. If a mother is pregnant and she's not got things for her baby, we have places where they can go and get things for the baby, and we have to refer them appropriately. If it's children with mental health issues, other siblings, we pick it up and we have to make the right referral. And if it's neglect or the parents are just not looking after their children well, then we refer to social care. So it's a whole lot we do. That's why we called family health visitors, because our job is, once there's a baby in the house, it's not just about the baby and the mother, it's about the whole family. And so we do have to have very extensive knowledge of services around us, extensive knowledge of where to appropriately refer patients when there are needs and concerns with the development of the child or the mental health or anything of that sort. And we act as a support network for the family as well.
That's quite extensive. A lot of work in there, isn't it? So what are the hours of work?
So hours of work is typical days hours, 9 to 5, and 37.5 hours a week. So it's up to you. There is flexible working, but you have to negotiate that with your manager and your service, basically. If they have the capacity and they can give you that leeway, then they will, or looking at your circumstances, if that will help you to do your work, they will. But there are flexible hours. You can do 30 hours, you can do 9 days and a fortnight, so it means you work 9 days in a row and then you get your fortnight Friday off. That is possible. And there are flexible working hours, like you work from 9 till 2 o'clock, but all these are to be negotiated with your manager. Good thing about this job is you do not do weekends, you do not do bank holidays. So you always have the weekends with your children, and you can do what you want to do with your children at the weekend. And the other thing about the job is it's flexible. Obviously you work from home. We have what we call agile working now. So most health visitors now work from home. Even though we have bases, we don't tend to sit in the bases very much. Because we don't have enough seats in there. So we work from home most of the time, and we have access to connect our laptops to Wi-Fi and work from home. It's flexible like that. If you have issues like childcare or that kind of thing, you can use it, but you have to be working. You have to be seen to be working, or else that privilege can be taken away from you.
Okay. Yeah. So during the training program, you're paid, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
You are a nurse. So you will be paid a nurse's salary, whatever you came into the job with. If you came in as a band 7, you'll be paid as a band 7. If you came in as a band 6, you'll be paid, that salary will be negotiated. But they try not to take what you already earning away from you.
Okay.
and they will keep that payment up. It's a level, it's band 6 because you can see our job is very extensive, and everybody in that level is a leader on their own. I mean, we are basically what you would call managers or deputy managers in the hospital. So that's what we do. We manage and some of the staff, which are the auxiliaries and the band 5s. We manage them, and we have our own caseloads and things like that. We have responsibilities, a lot of responsibilities. So you come in as a band 6, so you will be paid as a band 6 once on qualification, completion. Yes, you will only be paid as a band 5 if you did not end up with the grades, or there's a negotiation to keep you in the job, but your academic ability or your practice was not up to scratch. So that is somewhere. But I mean, I've seen it happen to somebody. It doesn't always happen. So hopefully when you come, you just dip yourself in and do the job well, and then you get your band 6 when you go in. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so when you finish, do you need to complete any competences before or on completion or graduation as a health visitor? When you start working, you're offered the job as a band 6.
Okay, so with the health visiting course, you're already doing the job on practice. You're doing what you do. I mean, like any other job, you start the job before you actually learn. I mean, because the complications meet you when you are in the job, then you face the day-to-day and learn from the day-to-day challenges. So I wouldn't say that you know everything before you go in, because when you go in, unlike hospital ward, you know that you're in a specialist area doing a certain job. This one, every family you enter is a different circumstance, and you don't know what you're meeting, and you don't know what you have to deal with. So it's those day-to-day challenges that you learn from and makes you more of an expert in what you do. So the question, what did we say again?
So what I was saying is that when you finish, do you have to complete any
Yes. So when you get in, you're already doing the job, as I said. But you do have to. You go under preceptorship when you finish. You'll be under, like any other nursing job here. You have a preceptor, and the preceptor will definitely want you to sign off some competences. So she'll want to know that you are doing them well. So if it's a new birth visit, she will do one new birth visit with you and be sure that you are really confident with it and sign you up. So those things will have to be signed up before you are now left on your own totally to do the job.
So what age of children do you look after as health visitors?
9 to 5 and birth to 5 years old.
5 years old. So from 5 years they are taken over by school
nurses. We hand over to the school nursing team. But we look after them from 10 days of birth to 5 years.
So before the 10 days, it's still under the midwife?
They're still under midwifery care. Realistically, they're under midwifery care till 28 days. That is what they are supposed to be. But we come in early anyway. So because we come in early, the midwives tend to sort of step back after 10 days and then let us do our work.
So apart from the monitoring of development and all the lot you talked about, you do like screening and all sorts of things as well,
yes.
do you?
The other things we do is antenatal. So we do antenatal contacts, which have been introduced the past couple of years now. They've been introduced. And the whole idea of the antenatal is to make sure we meet the family, they get to know who we are dealing with, and tell them about our services, what to expect when the baby is born. And because a lot of them don't know what a health visitor is if it's their first time having a baby. So at the moment we are only doing it for vulnerable mothers and mothers who are first time moms, because they don't know it. But obviously mothers who have had children before, they already know the service. They know that we come along the line. But if the mother is vulnerable, when we say vulnerable, is somebody with, say, a background of social care already, or somebody who's got mental illness, or somebody with autism who's had a child, or all those people, those kind of things, or illnesses that makes them vulnerable. So they are vulnerable parents. So we will give them antenatal contact. It's a one-off antenatal contact. It's between 28 weeks and 36 weeks of pregnancy. Any time around that, we'll give you a one-off visit and we'll talk about the visit. However, if we meet problems there, like housing problems or difficulty, you don't have money to have things for your baby, we do have a place where we can refer you and they will give you all the basics you need for your baby. and for those who don't have money. And for housing, we'll refer you appropriately. So we do things like that because we do have a broad knowledge of services around us, and a broad knowledge of health partnerships where we will refer you if the child has got some issues. If we suspect the child has got autism at the beginning, we will usually pick that up quite early because we are looking at the development of the child, and we can pick up the cues from the time the child is a year old, and we will monitor and we will refer appropriately.
Speech issues as well.
Speech issues, walking issues, general development of the child, and feeding issues as well. Yeah.
So what
behavior, sleep problems. I mean, we deal with a lot. Breastfeeding is one of the least of the problem because that's at initial stages of the birth. But as they grow up, the behavior, children with ADHD, children with autism, and all that sort of thing, children behaving badly, just throwing tantrums and parents can't control, sleeping problems, eating problems, fussy eating, and all sorts. And children who are not walking properly, we work with them and we will refer to the appropriate services.
Okay. So driving, you think it's one requirement, isn't it?
It's one of the key things before you are employed into your job.
Should be able to,
if you don't have any driving license, you will not get into the job. It's one of the prerequisites for the job because of the nature of the job.
You visit homes and things like that.
And you have to be careful with your driving. You don't want to have driving fines and court problems because that goes against you as well. Because they don't want a health visitor who will always be with driving problems because you can't do your work
then you go and park somewhere.
Exactly, you shouldn't be parking. However, if you work in the city and you work in the very dense part of the city where there's no parking, the council gives us some parking permits. So you can park on a double line and put that permit on, because we do visit at very weird places, and those places sometimes you can park, and because we carry scales and all those equipment, our bags with information and all that, it's quite a distance to put in the car park and walk. So the council issues out, if you're in those sort of areas, you have a permit to park on double lines or areas where you should not park. Yeah, we do.
So, in case there's someone out there, you're from overseas, or you are a nurse in the UK, you're band 5, and you're thinking about all sorts of professional development options, health visiting is one of them. As Victoria said, on completion or graduation, you would be band 6, and band 6 salary currently is about 33,000 and something to about 40,000 and something. You take home about 2,000, a little bit over 2,000. So, it's a good option to look at. So, what would be your general advice to anyone who wants to consider a career in health visiting?
It's not beyond your reach. Look for it. If you've practiced as a nurse here a bit and you want to do it, they are short-staffed anyway and they want nurses. So if you short-staffed at the moment, I mean, the spaces are not many half of the time. So you might have to look across the country. But you go on the NHS jobs and you search for health visiting courses or in different trusts, and you will find it. And you can apply for it, but you just have to obviously do your background work well about health visiting. I will advise that you shadow at least a health visitor a bit to see what their day-to-day work is and ask the questions so that you know what to do. It's a minefield, with health visiting, because there's so much I still don't know. And I'm working and I still learn and I pick on every day, because the social things in the social service, no, not the social services, in the social bit of our life is a lot. And every time you meet something new, you meet a different case. I think that's the beauty of the job, because it's not monotonous, it's not the same thing you keep doing. And you always see a new case which will challenge your mind and all your skills, and at the end of it you feel like, okay, I have achieved something because I have done something out of the blue, for a family. So it is worth going into. And obviously, I think when it comes to flexibility of working or time with your family is the same. You very well paid as one in the hospital, but not doing as much as much physical work as what is being done in the hospital. However, there's a lot of responsibility and accountability, because don't forget, if you have a caseload of 500, you're responsible for 500 people, and if something goes wrong, you are questioned about the patient. I mean, you could write court reports, you know, and you have to go and sit in the case conferences is to do with the safeguarding, child protection. That's not as bad. But if something like a child dies or out of the blue, and you can go into coroner's court and you have to write a report, and you have to go and sit in and defend, and you'll be cross-examined as the health visitor of the baby. Of the child. Yes, and you have to see that you did everything in your power to look after that child well. So it has got its own pressures and challenges, but obviously if you follow your policies well and you do what you're supposed to do, there is nothing that comes your way that you cannot. I think that is for every practice. It's for every practice. If you practice according to the policies and you do what you're supposed to do, and then wherever you feel you are limited, ask for the help and ask them to know more. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. So you have no excuse here. Victoria did help this thing. Well, she had 4 children.
I did with 4 children and a baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
She managed. She was able to do it. So you do not have any excuses. If you want to progress, it's an option to look at. Health visiting might not be for everyone. We talked about midwifery. You can look at that as well, and it might also not be for everyone, but you know the options are there for you to look at. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you, Victoria, for joining me, or for allowing me into your home to record this video. I know it's your day off, but oh well, you've given me my time. I've been pushing for this for a long time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you soon. We shall see you soon. I'll come back to her for advice in the future about, you know, when you're here and you get pregnant, what to do, what you have to do. So we'll be talking about a lot more later in the future. Anyway, thank you and have a good day. Bye-bye.